They came in loaded, microphones hot, questions sharper than knives, cameras ready to catch a stumble. But Karoline Leavitt, she didn't flinch. In fact, what happened next had even her harshest critics scrambling for damage control. The moment reporters tried to corner her live on air, thinking they'd finally caught her slipping, she turned the whole thing upside down and made them look like amateurs. It wasn't just a win, it was public humiliation, broadcast for millions to see. But how did she get here? Front and center at the most hostile press briefings in recent memory, dodging media traps like a pro.
I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is wrong or there is misinformation about this.
Before Karoline Leavitt was trending on every political feed, before she left reporters speechless at the podium, she was just a 20-something from New Hampshire running for Congress. At first glance, her campaign seemed like a long shot. She was young, unapologetically conservative, and facing seasoned opponents. But none of that slowed her down. She leaned into the attention, embraced the criticism, no matter how fierce the pushback got. Leavitt wasn't new to politics either. She had already made waves as a staffer under President Trump, and it was clear even then that she had ambitions far beyond behind-the-scenes work. After losing her congressional race, most people expected her to fade from the spotlight. Instead, she did the opposite. When Trump announced his 2024 campaign, Leavitt re-emerged, this time on a national stage as his campaign press secretary, the youngest to ever hold that title. Critics rolled their eyes. Supporters celebrated the move as genius. And Karoline, she took the heat and turned it into momentum. Her briefings quickly became must-watch moments, not because she played it safe, but because she didn't. She clapped back. She stood firm. And whether you loved her or couldn't stand her, you couldn't look away. But her real test came when private messages leaked, and what followed caught everyone off guard. It started with a leak. Screenshots from a private Signal chat, allegedly connected to members of the Trump campaign, began circulating online. The messages hinted at strategic discussions, media handling plans, and one particular thread that looked like a blueprint for how to discredit certain journalists. Within hours, headlines were flying. Pundits claimed this was the moment Karoline Leavitt would finally be forced to explain herself or fold. But when the press room filled that day, Leavitt didn't flinch. A reporter fired the first shot, asking whether she had used encrypted chats to dodge transparency. Her response? Calm, controlled. Then she hit them with a curveball. She didn't confirm or deny the chat, instead accusing the media of chasing conspiracy theories while ignoring the real issues affecting Americans. That wasn't what they expected. The follow-up questions came rapid fire, trying to box her in. But Leavitt pushed back, redirecting the narrative and framing the leak as an orchestrated distraction. Then came the moment no one saw coming. She abruptly ended the briefing mid-question and walked out. Cameras kept rolling. Reporters shouted after her, but she was already gone. Online, reactions were split. Some called it cowardly. Others saw it as a power move, refusing to play the media's game on their terms. What no one could deny was that Karoline had taken a potentially career-damaging moment and turned it into one of the most viral political clips of the month. And just when it seemed like things might cool down, she found herself face-to-face with one of her most persistent critics on live TV. If there's one reporter who knows how to press hard, it's Caitlin Collins. Sharp, direct, and not afraid to interrupt, Collins has built her reputation on pushing past political talking points. So when she squared off with Karoline Leavitt during a live CNN appearance, most people expected fireworks, and that's exactly what they got. The interview started tense and got worse fast. Collins pressed Leavitt on her alignment with Trump's most controversial policies, accusing her of dodging the facts. But Leavitt didn't just push back. She called out the network directly, claiming CNN had lost the trust of everyday Americans. She accused Collins of asking loaded questions, and when Collins tried to interrupt, Leavitt kept talking. The control had shifted, and Collins didn't like it. Within minutes, the segment was cut short. CNN abruptly pulled the plug, claiming time constraints. But social media wasn't buying it. Clips of the exchange exploded across X and TikTok, with conservatives praising Leavitt for holding her ground and liberals accusing her of playing the victim. The hashtag Karoline versus CNN started trending by that evening. Behind the scenes, rumors swirled that Collins had refused to bring Leavitt back on air without tighter control. Some insiders even claimed the two had a heated off-camera exchange after the interview, though no one could confirm it. But this wasn't just a single clash. Over the next few weeks, Leavitt and Collins crossed paths more than once, in the press briefing room, at media roundtables, and in subtle social media jabs. Their rivalry wasn't official, but it was obvious. And every time they went head-to-head, it added fuel to the fire. Still, for all the tension, Leavitt didn't back down. In fact, her next move would take the conflict from quiet whispers to prime-time chaos. And it happened right in the middle of a live broadcast. If anyone thought Karoline Leavitt would stick to political press briefings and avoid the media circus, they were wrong. Dead wrong. Because when she showed up on a nationally televised segment, this time the late-night host, known for ambushing conservative guests, nobody expected her to flip the entire tone of the show in under 5 minutes. It started on Jimmy Kimmel Live. The producers framed it as a light political chat. But almost immediately, the tone shifted. Kimmel threw out a sarcastic comment about her age, suggesting she was too young to take on real responsibility. Leavitt smiled, paused for a beat, and then fired back with a brutal takedown about Hollywood's hypocrisy and the disconnect between coastal elites and everyday voters. The audience didn't know whether to laugh or gasp. Moments later, she was off the stage, walked right out. No warning, no fluster. Just done. People were stunned. Some said it was unprofessional. Others said she stole the spotlight and left on her terms, something few guests on late-night TV managed to do. Clips of the walk-off racked up millions of views overnight. Supporters called it a boss move. Critics scrambled to explain why their ambush didn't work. But that wasn't the only time Karoline caught hosts off guard. Back on CNN just weeks later, she dismantled the host's framing in real time, pointing out the network's double standards and calling them out for misleading headlines. Producers cut the segment early again. It kept happening, again and again. Every time the media tried to set her up, she seemed one step ahead, flipping interviews into campaign moments and turning gotcha questions into viral quotes. She didn't just survive the media machine, she started bending it to her will. But just when the public thought they had her figured out as a polished political warrior, a surprising side of Karoline came to light. And it wasn't what anyone expected. For someone who built her reputation throwing punches in the political arena, Karoline Leavitt has a surprisingly different side most people never expected to see. It started with a viral TikTok, not something you'd associate with a press secretary known for battling it out with CNN anchors. The clip showed Leavitt giving a tour of the White House alongside British actor Jason Isaacs, best known for playing villains. But in this video, she wasn't the hard-edged political firebrand. She was casual, confident, even funny. The internet didn't know what to do with it. Some praised her for showing personality. Others accused her of using social media to soften her image. But the video blew up regardless. And suddenly, Karoline was being talked about in corners of the internet that had never paid attention to press briefings. Then came the detail that really threw people off. In a behind-the-scenes interview, Karoline casually mentioned that she and her team often pray before stepping into the briefing room. Not a staged photo op, not something plastered across campaign ads, just a quiet routine she'd kept to herself. It didn't take long for that to spread either. Supporters framed it as proof of her authenticity. Critics questioned whether it was appropriate, but no one could deny it added a new layer to her image, one that didn't fit the narrative the media had been trying to sell. This was the same woman who shut down reporters mid-question, walked out of late-night interviews, and flipped CNN's framing on its head, now leading prayer circles and cracking jokes on TikTok. It didn't add up, and that's exactly why people couldn't stop talking about it. But underneath it all, something else was becoming clear. Karoline Leavitt wasn't just navigating politics. She was reshaping how political figures handle the spotlight. And whether you saw her as fearless or calculated, one thing was certain: she was just getting started. Karoline Leavitt isn't just a press secretary, she's a signal, a warning shot to reporters, networks, and even fellow politicians. You can't corner her, you can't predict her, And every time someone tries to drag her down, she somehow flips the script and walks out stronger. She's young, yes. Bold, absolutely. But what makes her dangerous to her critics isn't her confidence, it's her control. She knows how to weaponize a headline. She knows how to turn pressure into performance. And most of all, she knows exactly what the media wants and how to deny it. The public sees what they want to see. Some call her fearless, others call her reckless. But no matter which side you're on, you're still watching. That's what makes her effective. In a political world where most press briefings are background noise, Karoline Leavitt has turned hers into must-see moments. Whether it's a viral walk-off, a fiery clapback, or a quiet moment of faith before facing the chaos, she's mastered the balance between confrontation and calculation. And the reporters, they're still trying to figure out where they went wrong.